Hello, wonderful listeners. Today we're doing an Am I the Asshole reading for our philosophy and film course for Professor Katler. This is our final project in what was a great semester. I'm Pat.
And I'm Tori.
And we'll be your hosts for today's podcast.
All right, so let's jump into our first story. Our first story says, I, 21 male, was on one of my daily walks by the train station. Today, something bizarre happened. After looking closer, I noticed 5 people tied down to the train tracks, unable to escape. I saw a lever that would allow me to divert the train and switch its route. Before I push the lever, I look over and I see on the other side of the track that there is a baby tied down. I decided to let the train continue on its path, saving 1 person over 5. After coming home, I talked to my girlfriend, 22 female, about what had just happened, looking for some support. However, she was pissed at me and called me a jerk for not saving the 5 other people. I justified this by saying 1 life is worth just as much as 5. She disagrees and wants to break up. So Reddit, am I the asshole, or do you agree with my decision to save the baby? What do you think, Pat?
Asshole, but meant well. Because I understand it's a baby and then 5 assuming adults. So you want to do right by giving the child a chance to grow and become their own person. But, 1 versus 5, logistically, you'd want to save as many people as possible. So, this is one of those situations where there's just not a good option. Both options stink.
Yeah.
So if you have to choose one over the other, personally, I would choose saving 5 people over 1 person every time, even if it was just a child.
Yeah. Are you aware of utilitarianism?
No.
So I think you and the girlfriend have the same opinion, where you would say that the morally correct decision is to maximize the well-being for the greatest amount of people. So the 5 lives outweigh the 1, even if achieving that outcome requires condemning someone else to death.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I totally see his perspective, too. If I saw a baby, I think my heart would want to save that baby over the 5. But I totally understand why the girlfriend may be upset, because he could have done something to stop it. But I also see his perspective on the train was already on that route, so going and changing it would change fate. So I completely understand. This is a really, as you said, tough decision to make.
Yeah, let's say, what was the bridge thing that we were talking about?
Yeah, so people don't always take the utilitarian view, and we can see that by changing the trolley problem a little bit. So let's imagine, instead of being on the train tracks, you imagine yourself standing on a bridge over the track as a runaway trolley approaches. Now there's no second track, right?
Just you, the bridge, guy on the bridge, and 5 people on the tracks.
Yep. So a way to stop the trolley train from going is to throw that man's body off the bridge.
See, that feels worse.
Why?
Because the baby in this situation is already tied down to 1 set of tracks. The train has to go over 1 set of the tracks, the one with 5 people or the one with the baby. If you did divert it and took out the baby, it sounds so bad. But it is bad.
It is.
But you're not forced to push this guy off the bridge. I feel like when you are at the lever, your hand's more forced into doing something about it.
Yeah.
Whereas on the bridge, this dude could just be looking at the view, and now you're going to kill him to save 5 people.
Yeah, it feels a lot more personal.
It does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if I could do it.
It's a push versus pulling a lever, which it kind of does the same exact thing, but it's just like a psychological thing.
Yeah, because your answer changes.
Yes.
Because if you didn't push the man over, the 5 people would die.
Over the same outcome.
Yeah, which then doesn't align with utilitarianism.
Let's say it's a baby. on the bridge.
Mm.
And you have to throw the baby off.
Well, the baby wouldn't be able to stop the trolley.
Well, I feel like
Hypothetically, it's a massive baby.
This whole thing is this whole thing is a hypothetical because, I mean...
This happened to our writer.
Right. But, typically the situation would be pretty out there. I don't think this happens often.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's crazy that that happened to our writer. I feel bad. And I think the girlfriend shouldn't break up with him. That's kind of sad.
No, not the asshole, just in a well...
I don't know. I mean, I personally would have saved the 5 people. So I agree that maybe he is the asshole.
I think he was in a stressful situation and made the decision that he thought was best and at the time, and might reflect on it differently after a little bit of time.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody was in the position that he was in, I think it's a split-second decision. Train moves fast, you got to act fast. So technically we'll label him the asshole, but a justifiable asshole.
Yeah, right.
All right, you ready to move on to story 2?
Yeah, I'll go to the next story. So this one is coming from I, 17 male, and my father, 45 male, are polar opposites. I pride myself on being honest in pretty much any scenario, whereas my father often tries to cheat the system, so to say. This past week, I noticed that my father has been acting more suspicious than normal. I started to see more and more Amazon packages arriving at the house. In the house. Today, I decided to look closer at one of the boxes and noticed that it was addressed to the neighbor.
No.
I confronted my dad about this, and he says that we, quote, need this stuff more than he does. My dad is a single dad, so I know money can be tight. I can't help but think about how wrong this behavior is. So my question is, would I be the asshole for turning my father into the neighbor? I think that this is the most ethical choice, but I know that my dad would be very pissed at me. Do I owe it to my dad to respect his choice and keep his secret?
Ooh, this one's tough.
So this is like a would I be the asshole?
Yeah, because this hasn't happened yet. He's considering.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think OP is in a really tough position. He's only 17, and he doesn't want to disrespect his father, but he has these huge moral, standings. He knows lying is wrong. He knows stealing is wrong, which disaligns with his father. So, do you think, what do you think he should do? What's your advice?
Well, it's tough. You're 17. I mean, this man's still your provider.
Mm-hmm.
He's single dad, taking care of one kid. So, I mean, he said money's tight. So, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, you're stealing Amazon packages.
Yeah, who knows what's even in it?
Yeah, it could be I don't know, I was going to say paper towels, but they could probably use paper towels. It could be like a sundress, like something completely random, that they have no use for. So, I mean.
But then he could sell the sundress.
Yes, but taking packages in general is kind of scummy.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the neighbor has a Ring doorbell so the kid doesn't have to
get in trouble.
Yeah, because I mean, it's so difficult. It must be so difficult seeing the person who takes care of you put you in such an awkward situation where this kid seems to have a serious moral compass. If he's he obviously has made clear that he knows it's wrong and that he doesn't like it, but is conflicted and ratting his dad out.
Yeah. Do you think, let's put this on a higher scale. Do you think it's better to live in a world where kids need to protect their parents on situations like these? Or do you think it would be better to live in a society where, despite what relationship you have, when you morally know something is wrong, you try to make it right? So in his instance, it would be to tell the neighbor. Imagine the world that we might live in if we're constantly covering up.
Well, I'm just saying, what would it do for the kid to tell the neighbors that his father's been taking their missing Amazon packages? Because it's not going to do anything good for him other than, hey, I did the morally right thing and, told them what was going on.
Yeah, but he might be feeling all this guilt about what his father is doing, and it might relax him a little bit, even if he does get punished, grounded, yelled at. I think maybe that would outweigh his feeling of on morality. Like,
It depends on, I think, too, how bad their situation is. Like, if money's tight, or if, like, there's not food on the table some nights, I think that makes a big difference.
I agree. It's like, oh, is stealing bread wrong when you're poor? Like a little boy stealing bread.
Right, and that I would say, like, absolutely not. And this is...
I agree.
I mean, I don't know how many people order their groceries from Amazon. I don't think that's a thing, is it?
I mean, there's
like
sites like
snacks
Amazon.
and stuff, but like,
yeah.
But this kid specifically said Amazon packages. Usually, you think of trinkets and
Electronics
objects,
and...
not food. So
yeah, I wonder what that kid would say about the stealing bread scenario. Do you think he would think that's also morally wrong because stealing no matter what is bad? Very all or nothing black and white thinking? Or do you think he would empathize with that?
I think he would empathize with it, but also still think it's wrong.
I agree.
Because, I mean, for this kid to call himself polar opposite from his father, he must have a totally different moral code than his father.
Yeah.
And kudos to him for even having the strength and bravery to even consider, ratting out his dad. Because that's a tough thing to do. But he knows what's right and wants to make things right, but my worry is that he's going to make his own situation worse collaterally from doing that.
Yeah. So what would your advice be? I personally think maybe sit down and have a conversation
with his dad.
Yeah. And then
That's what I
say
was
maybe
gonna say.
the dad should own up and apologize and return the things. Because you don't want to get involved in something and make it a bigger deal. Because who knows if the neighbors are trying to find these packages, if they're upset.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks.
I think it depends on how many packages he's already taken. The kid should have a sit down with his dad and be like, hey, here's the deal. I'm totally uncomfortable with you taking the neighbor's packages, and if you keep doing it, I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, almost like a role reversal where the child becomes the adult, the parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very literally in this situation. Because, it's tough. I hope he hasn't taken too many packages, because then it's kind of already too far gone. But, I mean, if he's only taken, like, 2 or 3, maybe the kid can just have a conversation with him and be like, hey, don't do this again. If you do, I'm going to tell the neighbor. But then that could backfire, and, who knows? We don't know. He said polar opposites with this guy. Maybe his father gets, like, super mad at him or, like, punishes him in some way.
Yeah. But I think the neighbors deserve to know. I think either way, the issue,
this kid,
whether it comes from the child or from the dad, they're going to find out eventually.
You would
who's
think,
doing it.
yeah.
Hopefully.
This kid wouldn't be the asshole, though.
I agree.
I don't think he'd be the asshole if he did it.
Yeah, I don't think he's the asshole either. I think the dad's in the wrong. And I get that his scenario is tough.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Being a single dad, single parent is hard enough. I mean, if you're stealing Amazon packages to get by, things must be fairly bad. And if it's not, then...
just selfish.
Yeah, you're just a dick.
All right. Are you ready for the next story? Okay. Hi, Reddit. I, 32 female, am sure that you have all heard about the new development of technology, which allows you to enter a machine and live a life in a simulation, similar to that of the Matrix. Personally, I think this sounds amazing. I'm aware of the risks and how anyone or anything that I meet is simply a simulation, but I can't help but feel like I need to do this. I am married with 2 kids, so leaving will be a tough decision. I just feel overwhelmed with my life and want to do something for myself for once. I discussed this with my husband, and he called me an asshole for even considering going. The kicker is that if I decide to do this, I will never be able to leave the simulation. Am I the asshole for wanting to do this, or is my family holding me back? This one's heavy.
It's a said similar to that of the Matrix.
Yeah.
I say this is exactly like the Matrix.
It totally is.
This is that scene where the guy from The Sopranos, what's his name? That character in the Matrix who
the bad
chooses
guy.
to rat out his friends to go live in the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's this situation here, but instead of ratting out friends, she's just leaving behind her husband and 2 kids.
Well, they all had to make that decision to go into the Matrix. They're leaving their parents, their family, their kids. So they all had to make that similar decision. So obviously, if she's considering this, she's willing to do that. She's willing to say goodbye.
Oh yeah, she seems rearing to get into the simulation.
But then we saw how the Matrix turns out. you know? I don't blame her. I mean, it's a heavy decision. Like she says, she'll never be able to leave.
I don't blame her, and I understand her, but still the asshole.
I think so, too.
And it all weighs on leaving behind 2 kids. They're not
and her husband.
Adults.
Yeah.
They're kids, and you've made a commitment to your husband, and leaving that all behind for yourself is... I think you're the asshole for that. Because, I mean, this is pretty dark, but when someone commits suicide, I mean, they need out. Mm-hmm. They need out of their life. Mm-hmm. And it's just, they're sick and they need help and they feel helpless. And so they're out of their situation. This lady said, I can't help but feel like I need to do this. Mm-hmm. And she said that
leaving will be a tough decision, but it's something that she needs to do for herself or wants to do for herself.
Right. And she's just kind of burnt out from her life, it seems.
Which is understandable.
Totally.
I mean, being a mother, being married, it's taxing work. So wanting to live in this fantasy land where it's all happy and everything that you've ever wanted, it sounds very appealing.
Yes.
It really does.
And if you don't have, a family or, anyone that really needs you or, kids that depend on you or you, it's just, it's tough when you have kids.
Yeah, it makes the decision a lot harder.
Yeah. Or anyone with a family, it seems like, I don't want to say selfish because...
Well, selfish isn't always a bad thing.
No.
But I think in this scenario, it's much more blurred.
I think you'd at least wait for the kids to grow up.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
you're not leaving behind your husband. Because, the reason I brought up suicide is because this is, in a way, taking your own life. Mm-hmm. Because you can't come back. She says, I will never be able to leave the simulation. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason I compare the 2 situations.
That's a good point. It's a permanent decision.
You're choosing to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it doesn't seem because of a mental illness. That's the difference.
Well, it could be.
It could be.
We don't want to diagnose.
She doesn't, no. She doesn't explicitly say anything like that. She just seems like she said she wants to do something for herself for once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it just seems like maybe the decision, all in all, is unethical, but at what point do you put your own needs over that of others?
She seems ready to go.
Yeah. Do you think that makes her an asshole?
In this situation, I do.
I
would need more details to go back and say not the asshole. Mm-hmm. But based on the limited information that we have, definitely asshole.
Yeah. I think we're doing good. We're agreeing on a lot of the outcomes here.
Yeah, because the first 2 we determined weren't necessarily assholes.
Yes.
And now this one is you're the asshole.
Yeah.
Unless there's stuff we don't know that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's a short prompt.
Maybe the husband's a dick, and maybe... I don't know. Kids, it's not their fault.
We can't blame them.
Yeah, poor kids.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Oh. All right. This is the last one.
Okay, let's do it. I, 23 male, have a secret that I've been hiding from my girlfriend, 21 female. To preface, we've been dating for over a year now, and she's a smoker. It started with smoking a cigarette when she was out at college parties, but it has now clearly become an addiction. I do not agree with this habit, and I am worried about her health. Recently, I decided to begin hiding her cigarettes from her so that she can't go and take a smoke break when I'm with her.
Oh, goodness.
She would get annoyed about being unable to find them, but would eventually get over it. This was all going quite well until yesterday, when she caught me taking the pack out of her purse.
Oh.
She called me an asshole and said that I have no right to be doing this. I think that I'm doing the ethical thing in keeping her healthy. Am I the asshole?
Whoa. That's tough. That's tough, because he clearly loves her. He wants to make sure that she's healthy and happy, but also, she's 21.
You can make your own decisions.
Yeah, it's her life, her body. She can do what she wants to it. And smoking is an addiction. He recognizes that. And it's not like anybody wants to be addicted to cigarettes.
No, and if that's a deal breaker in a relationship with him, then I think they should just have that conversation.
Yeah, because it's totally justified to not want to date somebody that partakes in habits that you don't agree with morally. That's totally fine. But making that decision for them without having a conversation, that's where I think he becomes the asshole. And, like, sneaking through her stuff. Ugh.
And it's tough because, I mean, he's asking if he's the asshole or not for a reason. Because he knows on one hand, he's kind of doing her a favor.
Yeah, in his mind,
Yeah, in his mind.
But he's going about it in such a wrong manner.
Yeah, it's not cool to hide other people's property on them.
Yeah, because his intentions are good. But the way he's going about it, like, I would be pissed if you were hiding things from me. Whether it be anything. Like, if you were hiding my toothbrush in the morning, I'd be annoyed.
I get pissed off when I can't find any object that I'm looking for.
Yeah, and then imagine that
and that's not someone hiding it on me. That's just losing it. So yeah, I would explode.
Oh yeah. So I totally get why she called him an asshole. Because I think that is asshole behavior. His intention is decent.
I struggle to call him an asshole.
Interesting. Why?
Just because of, like, I mean, he seems a little bit naive because he's not addicted to nicotine, cigs, not that we know of. He has no, this girl could have a history of addictive, subjective to addiction.
Yeah,
in
like
her
a
family.
biological.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that so choppy. Saying, like, you know, there could be people in her family tree that have had difficulties with substance addiction, whatever. And it's genetic, so it's harder for some people, addictive personalities. And he's just, in his mind, maybe trying to wean her off it.
Yeah, see, that's where I do think...
And he's doing this not for himself, but for her.
I think
in his words.
In his words. There's definitely a hidden message of he wants this because whether he wants to keep her healthy or he's embarrassed that she smokes, whatever it is. It's a selfish intention behind it all.
Well, he kind of says, but he says, I do not agree with this habit, and I am worried about her health.
Which is valid, but I think his way of going about that concern is wrong. He could easily take her to treatment. He could sign her up for online forums to talk about how they were able to quit smoking. But I think everybody knows an addict won't stop until the addict is ready to stop. Yeah. So you can't force her hand into quitting smoking. I think that's unethical. Right. Whether he's having these ethical ideas of wanting to keep her healthy.
So I would say not the asshole
Oh, so I changed your mind.
I'm saying. No, I said not the asshole. You're saying he's the asshole.
Oh, yes. I think
I'm
he's
saying
the
he's
asshole.
not the asshole. He's just going about this wrong. Because, I mean, yeah, we say online forums and courses that cost money, don't work. I mean, like you said, she has to be ready to quit.
Mm.
And if she's not ready to quit, then hiding her cigs are just going to piss her off. And that's not good. What?
So he is the asshole.
No, he's just going about it wrong. I think his intentions are good.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see your point now.
But, yeah, he is going about it like an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't think
he's
he
asshole,
is an asshole.
He's asshole adjacent, we'll say.
Yeah.
Okay. I can agree with you on that, but I think he leans more asshole.
What would you say to the one that we read before these questions about the guy? He was like a 21 male. His girlfriend was like 24 female. And he was adding olive oil to her food.
Oh, gosh.
You remember that?
Yes.
Because something about like she wasn't eating very good and he wanted to increase her calories. So he was just sneaking olive oil into her food, and she found out because there was a big case of olive oil in the garage, and she had been noticing over time that he was adding the extra olive oil to increase her calories in the food.
To me, that is psychological warfare. This girl is trying to be healthy, she's working out, trying to lose weight, right? That's what it was about. And he got concerned about her weight loss.
Yes.
So
that was the concern.
I think that is totally, totally wrong. Because this girl must be going to the gym and not seeing the results that she wants because she's gaining weight. And she doesn't know why. She's eating healthy. She's doing all the right things. She's exercising. And unbeknownst to her, she's consuming copious amounts of olive oil, which is bad for your health.
Yep.
So his intention there, I think, is, when comparing it to the story about the cigarettes,
it's similar.
It's similar. I think it's very similar.
But I say, in the situation of the olive oil guy,
he's clearly the asshole.
He's the asshole.
Clearly.
Definitely.
But the whole thing is the same intentions.
They have good intentions.
I don't know, the olive oil guy.
Because when you juxtapose these two cases, all of a sudden the guy that's hiding cigarettes looks like a saint.
Yeah.
He's like genuinely just like, probably concerned about her health and well-being. Whereas this guy is like concerned that she's going maybe a little too hard, going too far.
Having unhealthy habits.
Unhealthy eating habits maybe, yeah. And, he seems concerned that she's not eating enough.
Mm-hmm.
Which, eating disorders are a real thing. And,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But manipulating someone's diet unbeknownst to them, I don't imagine that that's going to help an eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
It could cause one.
Because then absolutely it could cause one.
I mean, we don't know, though. She could have already had...
Yeah, and I don't think that necessarily matters to his intent, because obviously he wants her to be happy and healthy. But going about it and not just sitting her down and being like, hey, babe, I'm concerned. Like, do we want to go see a nutritionist, see what's healthy,
and
that fits into your plan of action for your fitness journey?
Right. And that's the common denominator in the two stories, is the concern about health.
Yeah, and
they're going about it in just not great ways.
Yeah, lack of communication.
No communication. Really.
None.
And this is just completely going behind your partner's back.
Yeah. So that's a good parallel.
It's the opposite, I guess, of communication.
Good parallel that you drew. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess, we know olive oil's an asshole.
Yeah.
But
it's pretty even, I'd say.
Yeah.
Some assholes, some that were maybe misunderstood, some on the fence. I think that was fantastic, but those were all the stories that we had to talk about today. Looks like we're hitting about a half an hour.
I know. I wish we had a little bit more to talk about.
Yeah, me too. This was our final project for Professor Katler. We hope you enjoyed listening, And I don't think we'll be back, but
You never know. This could blow up.
Yeah, join next time if there is one.
Yeah.
But,
Thank you.
Yep. Have a great summer. Thank you.
Bye.